What we do with these, they are an occasional series, and what happens is that from time to time we just kind of surface for air from the day job and want to take the chance to share some thinking and some ideas that are really just leaping out of our work. And on this occasion, we've chosen the subject of trust. And in fact, I think it's fair to say that this subject has chosen us.
One of the things that we've found through the number of studies that we've done relating to trust recently is that there's an absolutely critical distinction to be made between trust and trustworthiness. Trustworthiness is an attribute of companies, brands, or organisations. It means that you think you can trust them. On the other side, trust is an attribute of people, or consumers if you want, that can be felt towards other people, of course, but also brands, companies, organisations. And the important thing is that it comes through time and it comes through experience. It's a positive feeling, it's not an absence of feeling. It's not like, oh, I think they might be trusty. It's, I trust you. It's an active feeling. It's built over time, as I've touched on already. It's not an instantaneous thing. It starts with hope and belief and trustworthiness, and over time becomes trust once the company or brand has proved itself. It's based on experience, not on reputation. That's trustworthiness. It's an emotion. It's something that's felt. And think about when you trust somebody, or if somebody says, you know, I really trust you, how good does that make you feel? Or if you feel that you can trust somebody else, it's a great feeling. And it is a feeling, much more than anything that can be kind of delivered, for example. It's also specific to an individual, or specific to a company, or specific to a brand. You don't feel trust towards sectors in general. And once lost, it's extremely hard to regain. People do talk about companies that have lost their trust. Their language is really extreme. They talk about things like lying and ripping me off, and corruption and crooks and criminals and manipulative and being, profiteering and all those really hardcore words. And that's because of that depth of feeling that makes up trust.
In financial services, and you'll see in other sectors, and as Blue has mentioned, here's a quote from one of our participants: you're just not sure anymore what's going on. There's a question mark over every single thing now. So people are feeling a lack of confidence. Now, this isn't saying I don't trust you. I don't trust the world anymore. And this is to do with confidence. If you think there is a problem with your brand, it's worth looking to see whether it's a problem with the entire world that your brand is situated in, or your sector, which is dealt with at a regulatory level, at a government level. People decide that food is full of rubbish, for example. So there's a massive move back towards organic food, or they don't trust food provenance anymore, or they don't trust certain additives in cosmetics. Something like that requires a sector-level response, or even a government-level response. So that's something that as a brand you can be aware of, but you're not going to be able to change that just yourself. You could adopt a thought leadership role in that position and decide that you're going to take a stand. And a few people have tried to do that in, we don't put all this rubbish in our food, or we're going to be the financial services company that can communicate clearly, unlike all the others. But if you realise that the problem is a trust problem, that's a problem with your relationship with customers, and that will see you going down a hole when your competitors aren't.
How do you answer the question, how do you know when you can trust someone? And the simplest answer I could give her was, well, it's something that you pick up from them, that they're consistent, that they're looking at you in a way which you feel is reliable. They don't abuse your trust. The way they've spoken to you is respectful. You've known them for a period of time, and that trust has built. There's a first impression, but then that trust is built. But the other thing that I say is you start to learn the feeling inside you. You start to learn to kind of respond to your gut.
You talk about brand. Let's talk about Snakes and Ladders, about brand building and brand trust. Every day we do something to try and build that brand loyalty, that brand trust. Up we go through the ladders. One false move and we're down that snake, and we're starting again. Very expensive, very, very time consuming thing. It's very, very important that we manage our brand like that. Really essential. But people are making that decision to stay with us, to put their trust in us, sometimes from 7,000 miles away. And they're looking for those clues. We talked earlier about who do you trust now. They're not going to listen to me, for heaven's sake, but they are going to listen to the reviewers and the bloggers. When I first arrived, we were told, oh, don't worry about that market, it's a transient marketplace, don't spend your time investing in them. They only come once, they'll never be back again. No, they won't be back again, but they are our ambassadors. They are the ones that people trust and rely on. This belief that brand trust is something that's static is not something I recognise in my world. It morphs. Any kind of interaction with social, it changes on a day-by-day basis. And you've got to be excited by that, and probably a little bit frightened of it too. You've got to be respectful of it. For us, trust is not something that's a nice to have. Without it, we haven't got a business.
So there are some top tips for building trust that we've identified. First of all, reliability. Do what you say you're going to do. Consistency. Never let me down. Personalise it to me. Reward my loyalty. Don't abuse it. Be proactive. If things are going wrong, take steps before they go too wrong, rather than reactive. Make things easy. Take responsibility and say sorry and make repair if necessary. All of this adds up to aligning the interests of the customer with the interests of the company. And the final word from us is that the value of trust and building trustworthiness is in the relationships that you build with your customers, not what you sell them. A transactional relationship means that the value of that transaction is in the product or service that you buy. A trusting relationship, the value's in the relationship. And as we all know, in a trusting relationship, you don't count